Hi, I'm Kamon Reynolds, and this is a question I have gotten a lot over the years, and I've taken my time addressing it. What is my favorite bee suit and why? So I have used this for 4 seasons. When I purchased it 4 years ago, I thought it would be a good idea, but you just don't know. What attracted me to this bee suit is it's made in the United States, so I always love things that are made here. It's easier to get customer service and all that kind of stuff. But it has proven over the last 4 years to be really good for me. This year I've run it several days, over 10 up to 12 hours of being in this suit a day. It's gotten washed a ton, worked a lot, and it has proven to be a really good jacket. So this is the Ultra Breeze jacket. It is again made here in the USA, and it has fit me really good since the time that I purchased it. And as you can see right here on the tag, it's made by the Ultra Breeze company. Now, I've tried out several jackets. I have a Dayton in the shed. Laurel wears a Man Lake vintage jacket. I have a Guardian bee apparel, and this doesn't mean this is the only good bee jacket out there. However, trying those and looking at them and some of the features, this one in my opinion definitely is worth paying a little bit more for it, and it's really not that much more expensive than some of the other companies. If you want to see it, I'm going to leave a link down below where you can look at the price of their suits and jackets and things. And now let's talk about some of the details. What do I want from a suit? Well, the reason we wear them is for protection. We don't want to get skewered by our bees on those off days. And people see me a lot of times in the videos where I'm just wearing a veil. Well, when you're going through a couple hives, it's that perfect spring day, or it's a little colony, a lot of times you can get away with the veil, sometimes even going without, though I don't recommend that. But then there are those days that this thing right here is your best friend, and when you need it, you want it. So we want good protection from a bee suit. This one I have never been stung through. 4 years, never been stung through it. It's very vented all the way around. Even the pockets are vented. I wasn't sure that I would like that because I thought that might have been a sign of weakness as opposed to some canvas, but they've held up really good. I have a lot of propolis and mildew stains from sweating through this thing days and days and days, and I've got a buddy who's got a tip on how to get the mildew out of there. I just haven't tried it yet, and he says it works awesome, so we're going to try that out pretty soon. Now, as far as the protection, that's great. Durability, 4 years of going strong. I think I've got at least 2, 3, 4 more years left in it, minimum, of the high workload that I put this thing through. So I think the durability is fantastic. The ventilation, that's a huge one. When it's days like today, when it's 90 degrees, the humidity is so high because it's rained the last 2 days, you want as much ventilation as possible. And this thing ventilates extremely well. There's only one thing really about this suit that I don't like, and I'll get to that here in just 1 second. But when it comes to the ventilation, that is exceptional. The only issue that I've had, which was a mistake of my own, is I have a hole in this pocket right here, and this came from jumping out of the back of my truck and catching it on a nail. And no bee suit's probably going to hold up against that. So that was a mistake on my part, one I wasn't very happy about. However, the pocket's still really strong. It just ripped that small little hole. So let me put it on real quick. The durability is great. One of the things that I have noticed about this, and I will say again, I have no affiliations with the company Ultra Breeze, so they did not give me a free suit or anything like that to do this video. The caliber or the gauge of this outer mesh is almost twice as thick as some of the other brands that I've used. This outer gauge is really what takes all the abuse right here, and it's double what some of the other ones are on the market. And if that's strong, then it really protects all this inner mesh right here. You have this kind of square mesh down in the center of it, and that provides that gap so when the bees sting, if they try to, it can't go deep enough to get to you. And then there's another layer of mesh on the inside. Now, the one thing that I don't like about it, and this isn't really a tremendous knock because this really just is something I don't like about any of the jackets from all of the companies I described, is the veil. I really hate a fencing valve, but none of these companies create a jacket with a fixed valve that's vented, and I'm really frustrated by that. Because what happens when I'm backing up my truck and looking back, trying not to run over any colonies or anything like that, my head goes this way and this is still looking towards you. If I'm looking up, it takes a while for it to move up with me. That's one of the reasons why I wear a hat, because if you don't, it won't tip up and the response is a lot slower. So that's what I don't like about this Vel, and this one's actually better than some of the companies that actually is even bigger and bulkier. It's like you're an astronaut or something. But I want something that is fixed. So when I'm looking forward or looking to the left or right, this is with my eyes instead of having to move my shoulders. And also the mesh is really tight. However, that's the way most of them are. I understand from a shipping standpoint that these things can fold flat and ship cheap, but this is what I would prefer to have. If we could, in a perfect world, at least in Kamon's perfect world, which is probably not perfect, I would say, I would have a nice vintage jacket from Ultra Breeze made this way, and then it would have a zipper, and oh my goodness, I mean, the visibility right there has got to be 3 times better with this Vel. This is a totally different type of screen, and Man Lake has even made this one tighter than it used to be, but they won't make it to where it mounts to their vintage jacket, and I've told them for multiple years to do it. There's just too many rungs up the ladder, and I can't get to anybody that'll make any changes. But I love the fact the peripheral vision is massive with this thing. I can see good to here, and then of course it turns with me. It makes over a 8 to 10 hour day. It's massive, because when I'm looking at frames or I'm looking at a distance or whatever I'm doing, this always stays the same distance from my eyes, and so my eyes aren't having to constantly adjust as this thing right here rocks back and forth with the movement of my body as I'm walking or anything. And if you're in a high for 30 minutes, you probably don't notice, but if you're into them for hours and hours, your eyes will appreciate the consistency, and also just how much easier it is to see out of this as well. So that's what I would love in a perfect world. Maybe the only other suggestion that I would give, and this is not for Ultra Breeze, but just for beekeepers in general, look at the corrosion right here on the zipper. The zipper is done very good for me. However, we have to periodically lube the zipper up so that we can zip it easily. That little bit of corrosion right there can build up, and you know, usually when you wear them out, it's because of excessive torque and friction. So we want to eliminate that. Some beekeepers use beeswax. I find that actually there are better things like zipper butter. I'll leave a link down below for that as well. They're very inexpensive and last forever, just about. But anyways, this is my personal opinion. Laurel's got a Man Lake jacket. One of my buddies likes his Dadant jacket. Several people like the Guardians. But I just personally, trying all of those myself, this is what I like. Fits good, the durability is exceptional. It's made in the US of A, so what's not to love about that? And then you have all this ventilation behind you. You don't even have any canvas pockets. The ventilation is the best of all the vented suits that I've seen. So anyways, personal opinion. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any differences of opinion or any personal preferences on bee suits or Vels or anything, leave that below. And hey, if you're willing to make a bee suit that has a killer Vel that's mounted onto a vintage jacket that's high quality, I'm interested, because I want this on that. Man Lake, are you listening? I hope so. I doubt it. See you later.